Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. We're going to be taking a look at some of the top 10 Bitcoin mining stocks. So, starting off with fear and greed in crypto, you can see that after fear dipped all the way down to extreme fear at a level of 10, we have been making higher lows and higher highs. We've seen Bitcoin coming up a little recently, so we'll see if there's any promise in the price action. We'll take a look at that in a little bit, looking over at stocks because these are mining stocks. You can see that the stock market, is still in extreme fear as well. And something I've been talking about, at least with seasonality wise for crypto, March tends to be the end of this stretch where when you go from December, January, February, March, these months, give or take, aren't always the best. And you can see in the past that when February is negative, March either tends to be flat or negative as well every time. So it's not surprising to see this sort of pattern following. But what you can see happen right after is that we can get some good movements to the upside. So big April right here. And then back in 2014, April is sort of a dud, but then May was pretty good as well. Of course, as we're looking at miners, you can double check this with any large altcoins out there. Miners can act a lot like altcoins and they top with the crypto tops. So I think of these as somewhat safer altcoins, in my opinion, because we can see their financials, their balance sheets, and we can get a little bit more insight. Talked about this in the rainbow chart video I did yesterday. We're having a 30% pullback right now, but pullbacks are to be expected on the way to the top. And as far as the alt season index, still creating higher lows. And if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the macro charts and indicators for crypto, subscribe. But we'll talk about miners here. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. And I did draw a low to the high fib retracement. In the Fibonacci retracement, this is based off the golden ratio or the golden scale, as some call it. And you can see here just the level to watch for if the 50-week moving average starts to be a little shaky. This orange line is the 50-week moving average, and you can see it held before. But we did see back in August that if we do a low to high fib here, that not only did the price get to the 50-week, but it wicked down to the 236. So if we see anything similar, I'm not saying this will happen, but just if we did, that 236 is at around 69K. So just keep an eye on that. But overall, right now, you do see the 50-week moving average holding up. So that's pretty good. Now, we have seen fear climbing up a little bit into the greed area. And I think part of the reason for that is, as you can see, ever since its top, Bitcoin has been, I think this looks like a descending channel to me, at least. And after coming down to the lower end of this channel, it has had a bounce up. But really, I'm not buying the spike that we're seeing from fear towards neutrality because we have not taken back the 200-day moving average. I'm not going to feel any better about this until that happens. So we'll see what happens at the 200-day. It might reject and then come back down. That's possible. And other indicators to watch for, at least on the weekly, I think a couple really important ones to watch for right now is the MACD. The last 2 or 3 times that the MACD has flipped positive, this is the moving average convergence divergence. You can see we were seeing bullish divergence in the start of the bull cycle. Here, large move up. Here, another large move up. So the MACD is negative right now. That is one chart to watch for, or one indicator. And another one I think is worth watching. It's like a bull market support band. This one's called the Hull Sweet indicator. When we get under this ribbon, price action is sideways and negative, which is where we're at right now. So this lines up pretty well with the MACD as well. So just something to keep an eye on, those two indicators. The MACD, I think, would work just fine, though, if you want to simplify it. Anyways, Bitcoin still negative. Hopefully we get a base soon. If we do start getting more bearish than the 50-week, I'm going to be looking at indicators to confirm movements to the upside instead of just buying fibs and moving averages. I'm fine doing that when we're bullish on the daily above the 50 week. But if we turn bearish, I like to have a little more confirmation. Anyways, let's get into our miners and we'll take a look first at Marathon. And you can see Mara, it has been taking the lower end of this channel. So this channel, even with all the negative stuff going on, it is still holding up in this area. So I do like seeing that the channel is holding up and that we aren't breaking underneath that. Now that can always happen, but one thing I do like is that the 382 is at support not too far under. So on the daily, you might see it wick down to the 382 and come back. And on the weekly time frame, that would still be absolutely fine. So we can always get wicks out of the channel or above, underneath fibs, moving averages. That's not confirmation. So if we do see any value down here and you like Mara, anywhere in this $11 range to where we are now, I think is pretty good long-term dollar cost averaging territory. So I don't mind the levels right now. Again, if you're looking for confirmation, you can take a look at the MACD, buy signals, even the stochastic RSI. This is flipping positive, so that's good. As it starts to get in the shaded area, that's more promise, but it is flipping positive. I think that's a decent buy signal, at least stochastic wise, for Mara, the Bitcoin mining stock. Next, let's take a look at Riot, and we will see that. How's Riot looking right now? So this one, man, when it lost the moving averages and this 382 fib, it has been coming down deep into this channel. And, you know, when it was up here around $11, it said, if we turn bearish, watch for the $7 area. And, man, just 2-3 weeks later, here we are. We're falling quite a bit. So that was a fall of 40% in the matter of a month, which is crazy. But that's crypto. You got to be able to handle this volatility. And with that being said, I think these levels down here at around $7 or $6.90, good levels. I like the price at those levels for this channel. You can see here it gets as low as the mid lower $6, but we have the 236 right at around $7. So I don't mind these levels. Again, you can take a look at those confirmation indicators. I'm not turning on the buy sell signal indicator because it's probably not even worth it. But stochastic wise, this one's still bottoming out a little bit. So, you know, on Mara, I like that more, but Riot, not so much there. I might wait for more confirmation and maybe be a little patient. If you love Riot, and let's say you have a $100 budget to put into Riot, you know, maybe you put 20% of that in now and you save a higher percent for later on. So that's the way I like to attack those. Let's take a look at cores. We have not taken a look at cores in a hot minute. And Core Scientific, we can see that this one from the top, now we have a low to high fib, and you can see from the top it has had a 0.5 retracement. So coming all the way down, this one just looks like we don't have confirmation yet, just like Riot. But if you like cores, this would be an area to watch for. And next, 618. So I will say, just from my experience with newer altcoins, newer miners, I typically see more than a 0.5 retracement. If anything, I usually see the 618. So I'd be watching that 618 retracement, and hopefully, if you like cores, you'd want to see that hold up. So that 618 retracement at around 560, that'd be an area to watch for if this 0.5 breaks. And next, let's take a look at CleanSpark. And I did the letters in the wrong order. All right, CleanSpark. So like Riot, like Mara, we have these descending channels. And CleanSpark losing that 0.5 fib. If we zoom in on the daily, remember looking at this with y'all last week, how I didn't like how the dailies were closing underneath the 0.5 and was losing it. So if the market conditions remain similar, and let's say Bitcoin, as we talked about earlier, gets up to the 200-day and then gets rejected, do not be surprised to see CleanSpark come down here at these levels. So I'd be looking at picking up some extra CleanSpark at around that $6, the mid $6 level, somewhere in here. Again, you can wait for more confirmation. If Bitcoin turns more bearish, I would advise that. Nothing's financial advice, but I would recommend that strongly, I'd say. But right now, this is still looking bearish. I guess you could say on the daily, we do have these higher lows. I mean, that's just something tiny to look for, but really not holding up any moving average. And now it looks like it's losing that fib as well. So I'd wait for more confirmation on CleanSpark. Really, Mare is the only one I feel strong about. Riot, kind of just for the current price action. But yeah, let's take a look at BitDeer, and we'll see how BitDeer's chart is holding up. So this one, surprisingly, yeah, when we take our fib off log, this is at the 1618, it has come all the way back down to the 786, which used to be where the price would just hang out for a while. So BitDeer hanging out at the 786. We do have these higher lows. So if we do get underneath there, watch the 618 and price at around $8 and see what happens with BitDeer at that level. But if we zoom in on the daily, you can see it's possible. The fib is still holding up, but it ain't looking good. It is possible this continues to go lower. Next, let's go over to Iron. And Iron Limited, Iris also, it's getting underneath that 618 fib. And let's click off this. And we'll see that we do have some horizontal price support. So you can see that it got as low as kind of these areas back here, right where we had those lows. But if that isn't able to hold up, let's just take a look at this on the weekly as well. I mean, to me, this looks like it's getting ready to possibly push lower. You can say that you like the horizontal price support there. And also, I mean, maybe, is there a ascending channel right here? Let's just test this out. We'll go over to our parallel channel. Sometimes you see these things and they line up or they don't, but we'll test it out. But is there a channel here? And we'll stretch that out. And I guess you could say so, technically speaking. So maybe that's why the price is dipping right in between these fibs right there, is we have this nice channel. So if you like iron, that'd be one spot area to buy. But if it did break under the channel, then you'd be eyeing the 0.5 fib at around 540. So here to 540, don't really hate it too much. Excuse me. We'll finish with Cypher and Wolf, just so I can save my voice a little bit here. And let's go to Cypher. And Cypher, so that's, speaking of channels, this is one thing to watch out for. So people call these channels that move upwards that they can be bear flags. That's another name for it. When they're moving downwards, bull flags. So however much stock or weight you put into that, I don't always buy into it. I don't always see that play out, but it is something to watch. And there's no doubt this channel, it's breaking down right here. So now we look at horizontal price support, which we can see a little bit. But I'd be watching from this 0.5 area on up. So 242 all the way to where we are right now at $3. So if you like Cypher, $3 to $2.50, could be a good area to look to dollar cost average in a little bit. So the 0.5, you can see pretty big area for Cypher in the past. And then let's finish up with Wolf, TeraWolf. And we can see that TeraWolf, we are in this very steep descending channel. It was wicking underneath that and finding support on the 382. So I like this area for Wolf. You can see we had a lot of closes and resistance at this level. And then we got support just once before and now twice. So I am hoping to see TeraWolf hold up here on the 382. I do like this level for TeraWolf. But again, the way the markets goes, just keep this in mind when you're looking at altcoins or you're looking at miners, which in my mind are like altcoins. The lower market cap miners and alts you go, the less they have to pay attention to their structure like the large caps do. So if the large caps are holding a fib at a higher level, does not mean the lower caps have to. These lower caps, the lower you go, they become increasingly more volatile. So if you're seeing these at lower fibs, that's normal. That's part of it. I do like this area for Wolf. But if you love Wolf, the way I approach this, if I'm going to be buying Wolf and looking at this chart, I'm seriously considering it. Now, I would want to see some more confirmation first. And we're almost there. We're almost there with confirmation. Um, but if we get confirmation, I'd love to buy it around this $3 range. But if we don't get confirmation and it falls down, and let's say I buy a little bit here, I will love buying more down here. And that's just my mindset. If I like something enough to buy it here, you need to keep paying attention and also get further dips when it goes lower, in my opinion. And if you don't want to, then you never believed in it enough to buy it in the first place, or you never did enough research to justify that buy order. So, anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. How are you feeling about miners? Should my voice be a little bit better than it is today? I'll try to do a live stream tomorrow around noon Central Time. So, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.